Good morning. Welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Women and Gender Equity. At this time, we would like to ask everyone to place all electronic devices to vibrate. If you'd like to participate in today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the sergeant at arms. Moving forward, no one is to approach the dais unless your name has been called. Chair Lewis, we are ready to begin.
Good morning and welcome to today's oversight hearing on the implementation of paid family leave and prenatal leave in New York City. I'm Councilmember Farah Lewis, Chair of the Committee on Women and Gender Equity. Thank you to everyone who has signed up to testify. We look forward to hearing your testimony. Today, the committee will consider the following legislation: pre-considered T 2025 4108, sponsored by Councilmember Ayala, requiring DOHMH to provide several kinds of maternal health related information to two populations. Historically, most low-wage workers didn't have paid leave to recover from illness, care for a sick family, or bond with a new child. This created an impossible choice for workers between caring for themselves or their families going to work. Workers lost wages or even jobs when taking needed time to care for others or recover from illness. Paid family leave provides job protection, continued health insurance, and protection from discrimination or retaliation. Economic studies have shown that access to paid family leave significantly increases the likelihood that workers will return to their jobs instead of dropping out of the workforce or spending time out of work to search for a new job. But paid family leave is not only an economic benefit, it is also proven to be a health benefit to parents and babies. High quality research has found that the introduction of paid maternity leave in 5 states led to a reduction in low birth weight and preterm births. Another study found that mothers were 2% less likely to report poor mental well-being for every additional week of paid leave they took with their new child. In 2018, New York State made paid family leave a mandatory program, where eligible employees are able to make up to 12 weeks paid family leave at 67% of their pay. Furthermore, in 2025, workers in New York who are pregnant may also have additional time off available to them for doctor's appointments, procedures, and other types of prenatal care. Within the first 4 years of implementation of paid family leave, New York City accounted for the greatest share of paid family leave transactions, 31% of all claims and 35% of all payments. However, these percentages are less than the city's share of the state's overall population and private sector employment during those years, which was 43% and 48%, respectively. A 2024 study of New York's paid leave program found that for workers who earn less than $40,000 per year, only 48% of eligible workers claim paid family leave benefits. It also found that even where they do make claims for leave, these workers take significantly shorter leaves, only 7 weeks on average, despite their eligibility for 12 weeks of leave. These findings suggest that low-wage workers cannot fully benefit from New York's current paid family leave program. While New York has the most expansive paid leave policy in the country, there is clearly still room for improvement. Today, we will hear from the Commission on Gender Equity, the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and from the public. We will also ask how we are doing in implementing a strong paid family leave and prenatal leave policy in New York City. I would like to thank the members of the Women and Gender Equity Committee who have joined us today. Councilmember Caban is with us. I would also like to thank committee staff, Julia Goldschmidt Pinkham, Katie Selena, Ali Stouffer, Florentine Cabor, Taylor Francisco, Rose Martinez, as well as my own staff, Daniel Heredia, Shubra Mishra, for their work on today's hearing. Before we swear in the administration, I would also like to read remarks from Deputy Speaker Diana Ayala. Good morning, and thank you, Chair Lewis and my colleagues on the Women and Gender Equity Committee for giving me the opportunity to speak today at this important hearing. I am proud to sponsor pre-considered T225-4108, which would require the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to provide several kinds of maternal health-related information to two populations. First, the bill would require DOHMH to conduct a campaign to educate the public on healthy living, nutrition during and after pregnancy, and managing chronic diseases during and after pregnancy. Healthy living and proper nutrition during pregnancy are vital because they ensure proper fetal growth and development. For the baby, it reduces risk of birth defects and it can influence a child's health into adulthood. For the mother, it reduces the risk of complications. It can also lead to easier postpartum recovery, and it can improve their energy and well-being. Second, the bill would require DOHMH to provide information specifically to obstetric healthcare providers on topics aimed at helping them treat pregnant and postpartum patients, including information on best practices for caring for patients with chronic diseases during and after pregnancy. Chronic diseases can increase risk for infertility, preterm birth, birth defects, and pregnancy loss during pregnancy. However, careful, proactive management with the healthcare team can significantly improve outcomes for parent and baby, giving non-obstetric providers information on how common treatments and medications may specifically affect pregnant and postpartum individuals with chronic diseases so they can better weigh the risk against benefits, improves the quality of life pregnant people receive. This bill was inspired by the impressive work of the Speaker's Maternal Health Steering Committee, which I have had the honor to serve on with the Speaker, along with advocates, medical providers, union leaders, and elected officials to confront the city's maternal mortality crisis through this bill. We hope to improve care for all birthing people in New York City. I urge the administration to support this legislation and to provide meaningful feedback so that we can work together to address the ongoing maternal mortality crisis in the city. I thank the chair again for holding today's hearing and for providing me with time to the statement on this important topic. Finally, I would like to remind everyone who wishes to testify in person today that you must fill out a witness slip, which you can find on the desk of the Sergeant at Arms near the entrance of the room. Please fill out the slip even if you have already registered in advance that you will be testifying in person today. If you wish to testify on pre-considered T225 4108, please indicate on the witness slip whether you are here to testify in favor of or in opposition to the legislation. I also want to point out that we will not be voting on any legislation today. To allow as many people as possible to testify, testimony will be limited to 2 minutes per person, whether you are testifying in person or on Zoom. I am also going to ask my colleagues to limit their questions and comments to 5 minutes. Please note that witnesses who are here in person will testify before those who are signed into the Zoom webinar. I will now turn it over to Women and Gender Equity Council to administer the oath.
Good morning. In accordance with the rules of the council, I'll administer the affirmation to the witnesses. I'll call on you individually for a response. Please raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before these committees and to respond honestly to council member questions? I do. Yes. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, you all may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Lewis and members of the Committee on Women and Gender Equity. I'm Daniel Pollock, First Deputy Commissioner at the Office of Labor Relations. I'm joined by Elizabeth Wagner, First Deputy Commissioner for the Office of Labor Policy and Standards, the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and Ali Rasulinejad, Assistant Commissioner for Strategic Planning and Services at the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, Division of Human Capital. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on the paid family leave and parental leave benefits available to the city workforce. As with any other leave benefits, paid parental and family leave is a term and condition of employment that must be bargained with unions representing city employees. The past decade has seen tremendous progress in providing parental and family leave benefits for city employees through the collective bargaining process and through mayoral action for non-represented employees. As these benefits have been bargained with various unions, some differences in different employee populations have emerged. I'd like to take this opportunity to summarize some of the different iterations of paid parental and family leave benefits that we've established over the last decade or so for city employees. Non-represented city employees, which would be managers and other non-represented employees, were the first group to receive a paid parental leave benefit in 2015, when they became entitled to 6 weeks of fully paid parental leave. In February of 2024, this benefit was expanded to 12 weeks of fully paid leave, and these employees were also opted into the state paid family leave program, which I'll talk about next. The majority of the city's civilian, that's not the uniformed forces, employees are covered through the state's paid family leave program, which applies to city employees and titles represented by unions that have bargained to opt into the benefit. So, it's different than in the private sector where presumptively the paid family leave benefit applies. With city employees, the unions have to just bargain to kind of opt in. They affirmatively say they want to be part of this benefit. So this benefit is funded through a small payroll deduction determined by the state and provides up to 12 weeks of job-protected paid time off to bond with either a newly born, adopted, or foster child, or the care for a family member with a serious health condition. The benefit also applies when a family member is deployed overseas in a foreign country on active military duty. Eligible employees taking paid family leave under the state program receive 67% of their average weekly wage, up to a maximum of $1,177 per week in 2025 for up to 12 weeks. That benefit can be taken intermittently for up to 60 workdays in total. The premium deduction rates, so what an employee pays on, just deducted from their biweekly paycheck, as well as the average weekly wage levels, are determined by the state each year. So at this point, most civilian unions have opted into the state paid family leave program, making this benefit available to their members. As of today, approximately 130,000 city employees, which is about 40% of the city's total headcount, are covered by the state program. Of the city's 150 different collective bargaining units, more than 90 have opted into the program. So most unions have looked at this and said that they do want to participate and opted in. As to utilization, there have been 21,950 paid family leave claims since the program's inception. According to our insurer, MetLife, since January 2025, so year to date, there's been more than 2,800 PFL claims filed. So that's the paid family leave benefit, the state program. Other unions, particularly those representing teachers, school principals, and administrators, have negotiated their own separate paid parental leave benefits. The UFT, the United Federation of Teachers, negotiated 6 weeks of paid parental leave in 2018, and the Council of Supervisors and Administrators followed suit and negotiated 5 weeks of paid parental leave in 2020. Additionally, the Uniform Sanitation Men's Association, Local 831, which represents sanitation workers, negotiated a paid parental leave benefit for its membership in the last agreement we reached with them, which was the first paid parental leave benefit for a uniformed bargaining unit. A sanitation worker who is the non-birth parent is eligible to receive 5 workdays of paid parental leave for the birth, adoption, or fostering of a child aged 6 years or less. The birth parent would be covered by sick leave under the rules of the department. Including all these programs, so the PFL and the paid parental leave, different iterations of that, approximately 75% of the city's workforce is covered by some form of paid family leave or paid parental leave, which reflects the tremendous progress that the city, in partnership with our unions, has made over the past decade. A decade ago, there was no parental leave benefit at all or family leave. So, we at OLR, along with our partners at DTAS and FISA OPA, who we worked with to administer this benefit, are proud of our progress in creating these benefits. Are proud of our collaboration with the unions to get this done. This was a topic that, since the PFL program was launched, every union that we've met with, we've talked to them about what the benefit is, whether they were interested in it. Really talked through the benefits, and each union then had to make their own decision about whether this would be in the best interest of their members. We always remain ready and willing to discuss these programs with any union in future collective bargaining, and any modifications or adjustments that a union would be interested in exploring. Thank you for the time, and I'll be happy to address any questions the committee has.
Thank you for your testimony. All right. What is the average duration of leave taken by public sector employees? And if you could share with us by gender, age, wage level, and job category.
So we don't have the actual average duration or by the categories at this time. We can certainly, after this hearing, do a little more digging and see what we're able to get. But we
Wait,
can
I didn't
say
hear the last part of what you said.
after this hearing, we can do some digging and see what we're able to obtain. But roughly a quarter of employees take the leave intermittently. So, that is a significant portion that don't take it all at one time and may take it intermittently over a longer period. And that's for paid family leave.
And why don't you have that information today?
We, have, since we received the questions from the council, we started communicating with our insurers and with FISA OPA, but there just wasn't enough time to obtain that information in time for the hearing.
Can you share with us how many public sector employees have used any kind of paid parental leave? And if you could break that down by agency, job category, union status, gender, race.
Yes. So since, just talking about paid family leave, since January 2019, there have been 22,000 claims. We do have some breakdowns. Just one moment. So what we do have actually, so far, what we were able to obtain was for this year to date, the breakdowns. To get the breakdowns for since the program's inception, we need to go back to the insurer for information. But for example, for this year, there have been about 2,800 claims submitted. It's been across 65 different agencies, 82 different collective bargaining units. 55% have been female. 45% have been male, and a few non-binary. So that's the breakdown by gender. We do have breakdowns by union and by agency. If you'd like us to share that with you, probably not worth going through every single of the 65 agencies, but happy to share that with the committee.
What paid family leave through the state's law plan or not available to municipal workers? Do benefits vary by agency? I know you shared some of it in your testimony with sanitation and UFT, but can you break that down for us?
Sure. So essentially, it varies by union. So that's really the defining factor, which sometimes matches to agency, sometimes not. And it varies for a couple of reasons. First of all, just regarding the state program, a union can opt in or not. So there's a group, 25% of city employees, their unions have decided that this isn't a benefit that is worth it for their members and have decided not to opt in at all. And then we do have a group of unions that, rather than opting into the state program, decide that they would create their own benefit, whether it's because of the benefit available, they want a different kind of benefit. So the UFT and the CSA are the primary examples of that. They have fully paid parental leave, which is available to their members. They don't have the paid family leave program. They've not opted into that. Similarly, non-represented employees have 12 weeks of paid parental leave and are in the paid family leave program. And that was something that happened in last year by mayoral action.
For unions not opted into the paid family leave, do members take unpaid leave under FMLA or other unpaid options?
So they're certainly entitled to. Every employee is entitled to FMLA leave. I think it really varies. So I mentioned a significant portion of the workforce that has not opted in are in the uniformed forces, and those forces have unlimited sick leave. So there's a certain amount of leave likely that each of those agencies, a birth parent can take sick leave. But in terms of actual, specifics, we would need to look at each agency and to really understand how much unpaid leave is being taken. But they certainly have the right to. They also have the right to use their accrued annual leave or compensatory time, which I would think a lot of people take advantage of, and the various forms of leave available.
Among unionized versus non-unionized workers, are there differences in how much employees take leave or access supplemental benefits?
Thank you for the question. I think, yes, there are differences. As I mentioned, non-unionized workers by mayoral action have 12 weeks of paid parental leave, which is, a different benefit, and they're also covered under the state program. It's a different benefit than the represented workers have.
Okay. Women often pay a motherhood penalty for taking time off to care for children, while men can receive a fatherhood bonus because of this unconscious societal expectation that mothers can be caregivers while fathers are not expected. Do you track career outcomes after leaves of absences? And what agencies would be best placed to work on this particular issue?
Just to clarify, is this a question related to the municipal workforce or to the kind of broader city workforce, including the
Municipal
private sector?
workforce.
Okay. So that's not something OLR tracks in any way. I'm not sure if my colleague at DTAS has anything to add.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
That's not in terms of outcomes of folks who have come back from PFL or PPL. We don't necessarily track their career progressions as they go on. If there were, certain groups that you were interested in looking at, we could try and see how those titles might, any data within those titles, how they might progress.
How does the agency recommend employers work to make sure that women receive equal opportunity for advancement? Based off my last question.
Thank you again for that question. So at DCAS, I guess I'll take a step back and provide kind of like the larger context. We provide, I don't know if I'm speaking into this. So we provide support to agency human resource teams, working closely with OLR, FISA OPA, and the insurance carrier. And that includes providing trainings for our agency human resource professionals. So for instance, last year, we held multiple trainings, a couple of large-scale trainings for agency personnel officers. We also hosted a number of coffee series meetings, 16 throughout the year, kind of smaller group trainings where we covered PFL, PPL, and other leave types in some of those as well. We also, just have an inbox and an open door to agencies on a routine basis. They contact our citywide personnel policy office if they have questions related to managing their workforce and any leave questions, time questions, et cetera. This year, we continue to provide trainings. We actually have one scheduled for tomorrow that we'll be providing to some agency HR professionals as well. So there's a rolling, kind of a rolling calendar of trainings. We also put and make available guidelines, PSBs, personnel service bulletins about PFL and PPL processes. So while there isn't, I would say, something specific towards, a gender or, an age category or something to that extent, we do kind of provide ongoing, rolling training on best practices and policies and procedures regarding both these leave types.
In what you just mentioned, you mentioned several things, trainings, guidelines. Are those the specific ways that the agency supports parents returning from caregiving that leave to return to work and stay in their position? Are those the only ways, or are there additional ways that you all support those parents?
Yeah. So the trainings we provide are usually, or rather are for the agency HR professionals. So I think we had close to 400 agency HR professionals attend our trainings last year, our coffee series trainings last year, which are the small group trainings. we also do provide, working with OLR and the insurance carrier, they're provided a number of flyers, informational, documents. I think they have Brain Shark videos that folks can watch online, and that's kind of directly to the city workforce audience.
Are new parents offered part-time work or adjusted schedules?
So I think that would be something where the staffer would work directly with their HR to determine what kind of
Okay.
scheduling or leave type they would be interested in. Like was mentioned earlier, in addition to the PFL, PPL benefit, there's also annual leave, comp time, sick leave that employees may use as appropriate, and work around, schedule, or if there's any, other kind of provisions that they might be entitled to, such as telework policy, things like that.
And this question is for any of you. Have any of you seen a difference or trend in the use of parental leave based on the reason for it? Maybe it's meaningful parental bonding, family caregiving, or medical across the city agencies. Is there an ongoing trend?
Thank you for the question. So, looking at just this year, for example, the claims are about evenly split between bonding and care for a family member. So I don't currently have that data going back to inception, but currently it's really almost exactly 50-50 for each reason. I don't also right now, or I do actually have by agency, by reason, and just from a quick glance, it looks like around 50-50 for most agencies. So I'm not seeing any particular trend where one agency is more for one reason or one more for another reason.
According to the Department of Financial Services, in 2023, 32% of claims from New York City for family paid leave came from workers earning at or above the state average wage of $91,374, but only 15% claims came from workers earning less than 40% of the state average. That was approximately like 36,000. In this case, is this the same case for city employees? Do lower wage city employees use paid family leave less frequently than higher wage city employees compared to their share of the workforce?
Thank you for that question. So we don't have a breakdown currently by kind of salary band. It's something we can see if it's available. I would say kind of anecdotally, my experience with bargaining with unions is that unions representing more highly paid employees are more hesitant to opt into the benefit. Because there is the cap based on the average weekly wage, and that it is actually the kind of unions who represent lower paid workers that tend to be more interested in the benefit. So, that's not data, that's anecdotal, but that has been my experience.
What benefits stop if a city employee takes unpaid time off for caregiving purposes?
So when an employee takes unpaid time off, they would, there is a child care leave, unpaid child care leave of up to 4 years is for most of the employees is an option. You do not maintain your benefits when you are after your FMLA runs out. So after you've exhausted your 12 weeks of under the Family and Medical Leave Act, you don't maintain any of your benefits. So you wouldn't maintain your health insurance or your compensation or any other benefits.
How can the city support caregivers to take all the time that they need?
The question, thank you. I think, and my colleagues can speak more to how they DCAS communicates with agencies, but I do know a big part of that is city unions. City unions, I think, have been very proud when they've negotiated these benefits, and they fully encourage their employees to use it. For our part, this is not like some other forms of leave, like annual leave, where it's agency discretion to approve it or not approve it. This is a right. So an employee has the right to take this leave. It can't be, denied because, the agency needs you. And it's something that, through all our messaging, we have communicated this is a right. It's something that we want employees to use when they want to use it. And, my colleague may be able to speak more to some of DCAS's efforts.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think there are When agency human resource teams reach out to us, we run through with them a number of possibilities for the given, for the staffer who might be interested in discussing their leave benefits with the agency. Obviously we're talking about PPL, PFL right now. After that, you would look towards annual leave, you would look towards sick leave where applicable. You would also look towards comp time as well. As Dan mentioned, the city's child care leave then is another option, which provides job protected leave, unpaid job protected leave. And I believe staff is eligible to pay into COBRA if they'd like to continue their health benefit as well through that. And so that's for up to 48 months or 4 years. You could also look at a leave of absence, and some employees who contribute to one of the sick leave banks may also be eligible to take out sick leave, to take out leave from the banks as well.
Thank you. We've been joined by Councilmember Gutierrez. How many people have used unpaid child care leave?
I don't believe we have that information right now, but we can follow up and get that to you.
New York State paid family leave was implemented, at least in part, to combat gender disparities when it comes to employment issues. Yet these disparities persist with significantly fewer men taking PFL than women. How many agencies promoting or talking about the PFL with people of all genders?
Thank you for that question, Chair Lewis. I will say that I think the city seems to be, at least from this year's data, doing a good job on that front. As I mentioned, about currently this year, about 55% of the claims are female, about 45% are male, and I think the workforce generally, the city's workforce generally, is majority female. So I think those numbers are probably pretty consistent with the total city workforce. So whatever disparity there is in the private sector, it seems, at least from this year, that you're not seeing that in the city.
All right. This question is for DCWP. How many complaints or violations about prenatal leave have been reported in New York City? And if you could also share any patterns by industry, wage level, or employer size.
So just for background to answer the question, the city's paid safe and sick leave law, which has been in existence for almost 11 years now, allows workers to use their paid safe and sick leave for prenatal care reasons. That has been the case since the inception of the law. What changed in January of this year was the state added a separate bank of paid prenatal leave. That's in addition to the 40 or 56 hours of regular paid safe and sick leave, the additional 20 hours for prenatal care. So when that went into effect, we began tracking complaints based on that are just about prenatal leave. We've gotten 13 since January. Our sort of typical practice in those cases is to talk with the worker and with the worker's permission, once we get a sense of what's going on, to reach out to the employer to inform the employer, the law just changed. There's this separate bank of leave. Usually what employees are saying is, they're making me use my regular sick leave bank instead of this separate new bank of leave. And that tends to resolve it. The employers, aren't necessarily aware that the law just changed. And so that's how we typically handle those.
Is the agency creating some type of campaign or structure to make sure that everyone is aware?
Yeah, we've done a great deal of work on this. Obviously we were very excited, when the law changed. It's something that employees really need, so that they're not using up all their sick leave, going to obtain prenatal care. So when the law changed, in addition to, altering our internal procedures to make sure we had a system for fast tracking those investigations and those, handling those complaints to make sure we're able to help the person, while they're pregnant and able to immediately access that bank of leave. We've also updated all of our employer materials. So employers are required to give employees at hire and also post on the wall a notice of employee rights that we publish. That's about their right to paid safe and sick leave. We added prenatal leave to that So it's clear to employees at hire and then available to them, on the wall, what their right to paid prenatal leave is. We also have done extensive outreach work to ensure that New Yorkers are aware of their rights. In 2025, we conducted 190 worker events. That includes presentations, tablings, canvassing, reaching about 26,000 attendees. We've conducted 98 presentations, reaching 6,000 New Yorkers, including information on the right to paid prenatal leave. We also held a day of action where our team visited some of the busiest transportation terminals and distributed information in our Worker Bill of Rights to more than 6,000 New Yorkers. Our Worker Bill of Rights contains information about paid prenatal leave, as well as paid family leave and all the sort of key employee rights that people have. We've also done outreach to lawyers that represent employees and employers to make sure they're aware of those rights. That includes things like publications in the New York Law Journal, presentations to lawyer groups. And then we've sent out email blasts to 59 community boards and over 1,700 community organizations and business associations to educate and remind New Yorkers of the right to paid prenatal leave. So this is really important to us that people are aware of this right.
So it appears that there's a mechanism in place, but I'm thinking about the employee that is not tapped into the community board, didn't attend the workers' rights events and all of that. How can they submit a complaint or a claim for
Right.
that person that's not involved, that's not civically engaged, it's not reading the information right there on the wall? How else can they make a complaint?
Absolutely. So by calling 311 and saying sick leave, that's one of the key words, or prenatal leave, they're going to get routed right to our intake line. And they can speak to a live person who can explain their right to prenatal leave and get that complaint fast tracked to an investigator who can get in touch with the worker. And again, we're fast tracking those, so it's going to be getting to an investigator that same week to get in touch with that worker. People can also just Googling the information. We're at nyc.gov/workers. And we have information on our website where people can learn about their rights and file a complaint online. So we try to make it as easy as possible for people to reach us.
You mentioned 13 complaints
That's right.
to date. How many workers have reported retaliation? Is that within the 13? The 13 complaints, does that include reduced hours, termination after requesting or using paid leave?
So on our paid prenatal leave cases, those tend not to be, or those haven't been retaliation cases. They're making me use the wrong bank kind of situations.
Okay.
We certainly do get retaliation complaints for paid safe and sick leave generally, not necessarily specific to, these specific complaints about this new right. That does happen. We take retaliation very seriously. We also fast track retaliation complaints where the worker wants to be returned back to their job and reinstated. We do have the power to, through our enforcement processes, require an employer to reinstate a worker when they fired the worker in retaliation for using paid safe and sick leave.
Will the complaints and the information within those complaints be added in the PMMR next year?
I'm trying to think. I think they're tracked as paid safe and sick leave cases. The reason we are able to enforce the state law is because the state amended their sick leave law to add this separate bank. And so our city sick leave law says whenever the state offers a higher benefit, it's automatically incorporated. And so it's all within the category of sick leave, and that's where those would all be subsumed. However, we do on our website independently report all allegations we receive in complaints, and so those breakdowns would be in the report we publish on our website annually.
All right, I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Gutierrez who has questions.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I apologize if they were asked already. And I think Chair Lewis may have referenced this in her line of questioning. Do you have a sense of the data for eligible workers in New York City? How many of them are actually using the paid family leave and prenatal leave? Do you have a sense of that?
So we do not track information about the private sector workforce and the number of workers who would be using any of these benefits. There's no sort of reporting about that that comes to us. My colleagues, though, I believe, do have some information about that with respect to the New York City workforce. Sorry, the public workforce.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so the public sector workforce, looking at paid family leave, this year to date, there have been about 2,800 paid family leave claims. And in terms of since the inception of the program, in around January of 2019, there have been about 22,000 PFL claims. We've also had, for the non-represented city employees who have their own paid parental leave program, since that started in 2015, we've had about 3,300 cases of paid parental leave. And that's a population of roughly 15 to 20,000 people at any one time. So over 10 years, over 3,000 have used that benefit.
Got it. And is there thank you for those numbers. Is there any sense that anyone who, in the public sector specifically, if there anyone that is eligible is not taking parental or prenatal leave?
So, I can only speak to parental leave, but there's nothing that, I'm aware of out there that would indicate it. I think, again, anecdotally, the paid parental leave that's available to non-represented employees, my experience is almost everyone takes it. The paid family leave, I think, there's more of for employees, there's more of a, calculation of, is it worth it given that it's not kind of a full wage replacement, it's at 67% of your wages.
Okay. And then my next question is for city agencies, is there a way that they are integrating or sharing data with the state to track the paid family leave and prenatal leave usage?
Thank you for the question. Just for point of clarification, the prenatal leave law doesn't apply to city workers. It doesn't apply to the public sector. So we can really only speak to paid family leave and paid parental leave. In terms of whether we share information with the state, I'm not sure if my colleague from DTAS is aware of it. We do have an insurer who participates in the state program. So I think it may be shared through the insurer, but I'm not aware if we directly share it.
Yeah, I think it's through their insurer that it's shared.
Okay. Is there any technology gap preventing us from understanding the full level of compliance in New York City? Is there any issue operationally there? Any challenge?
I think my hesitation in saying that there's no barrier would be I'm just not sure that anybody is reporting that to any
We don't know
agency.
what we don't know yet.
And it strikes me as potentially quite burdensome to have such a requirement or such a reporting requirement. Yeah.
Burdensome for the private sector? Is that
Yes.
okay? And then my last question is regarding, I was able to read the testimony, really encouraged by, and I know that this is obviously up to the individual unions and their negotiations. So I just have like a general question, but I am encouraged by, the Sanitation Association, the teachers, UFT, CSA. I'm obviously encouraged by that. Obviously, we want to see more. What I didn't see here, I didn't hear in the testimony was for the police department. Do you know, or can you share if there's some sense of negotiation for extended periods of prenatal leave or family leave for folks in the police department?
Thank you for that question, council member. So first, I just want to say there are some employees in the police department who are represented by DC 37, for instance, who are entitled to the PFL benefits. When you think of like our 911 operators, they are entitled to paid family leave. When you talk about kind of the police officers and superiors, none of those unions have yet kind of explored with us in bargaining any kind of paid parental leave or paid family leave benefit. We are not really yet in the next round of bargaining, so I can't say obviously what's going to happen, but to date, that's not something that has really been explored with them.
So I'll just thank you, and thank you for your response. I think that that's right. I will just say this because it's important, I think, for us to have it on the record in conversations with members of the PD, police officers, for example, many who are women and do need this time off, and many who are spouses and partners, that is a desire, and that is not for anyone here to figure out, but I do want to make sure it's reflected in the record when those negotiations do come up, because that is just the reality. We are also seeing more women in the workforce, so naturally this is a benefit that we want to expand to PD as well. So thank you all for your responses. Thank you, Chair.
A few more questions. With significantly fewer men taking PFL than women, how are employers promoting or talking about the PFL with people of all genders in either agencies?
Well, thank you for that question again. So I guess I would say, one, besides the outreach we've discussed to our, agency human resource professionals and the trainings we do for them and the materials that are posted online and, written and in video format, thanks to actually the council's leadership, we've implemented career counselors at each agency. And so, folks who are interested in kind of discussing the impact of leaves on their career and their future trajectories can work with their career counselors on that. Sorry, can you repeat the question? I want to make sure I'm not getting off track.
Yeah, I'll start from the beginning. With significantly fewer men taking PFL than women, how are employers promoting or talking about the PFL with people of all genders?
Got it. Thank you. Employees are welcome to obviously speak with their career counselors, who then engage in follow-up as mandated by the local law with the employees who reach out. As well, the city is conducting, in partnership with OLR, conducts multiple surveys of the workforce, including an upcoming caregiver survey, and collecting feedback on the experience of our workforce.
Have either of your agencies received any feedback surrounding restrictions of the PFL program?
My agency has not. I haven't heard. No.
No. In what ways can the PFL program be improved to better protect and enhance the daily economic lives of New Yorkers?
Thank you for that question. I think, it really depends. I think one thing you see with the city workforce that I've tried to focus on is that, there really are a lot of we have so many different groups of employees, all with different needs. And, I think the reason the law left it up to each individual union was that they each have their own priorities and their own kind of like thoughts about what their members need based on what they're hearing from their members. There is always room for improvement and modification. As an example, the United Federation of Teachers, the initial benefit was that if you had two parents who were teachers, if both parents were teachers, that they could only take a total of 6 weeks combined, even though a single parent should take 6 weeks. So it was essentially they had to decide, would one take all 6 weeks, would one take 4 weeks and the other 2? In our last agreement, we modified that to make it 12 weeks so that they could each take the full 6 weeks.
Right.
So I think we're always open to modifications and changes and improvements. But, generally, we really try to defer to the unions on what they're hearing from their members that would kind of enhance the benefits in a way that they're interested in exploring.
Thank you. Do you have any more questions? No. All right. So thank you all for being here today and for being a part of this conversation. Your panel is excused.
Thank you.
I now open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance slip with the Sergeant at Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's oversight topic and or legislation. If you have written testimony or if you have written statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. I would like to call the first panel. Christopher Leon Johnson. And also, is there anyone here that would like to testify? You may begin.
Yeah, hello, Chair Lewis, Chair Gutierrez. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. First off, I know it's kind of off topic. I hope that you join the bill intro 1332 to stop unfair deactivation deliveries. So hope you jump on the bill. I know it's not the topic, but that's my advice. All right, so back about paid parental family leave. I think that the city council need to start finding a way to protect non-union employees, because this type of stuff hurts non-union employees the most. Because if a person decides to take parental leave and they're a non-union employee, they might not have a job when they come back. There's always some excuse. So I'm calling the city council to find a way to protect non-union employees with paid parental leave in the city council. Unions don't have to worry about that, because unions will come outside City Hall and fight the council members if they dare try to say we ain't gonna do anything. But when it comes to non-union employees, they're at the will of the employer, they're at the mercy of the employer. And I'm calling on the city council to find a way with the labor committee, with Carmen De La Rosa, to implement a bill to give them more protections, more than union members, because non-union employees don't have protections like unions. I understand that there are a lot of non-union jobs out there and we need them, but they need the same protections as union employees too. So, but when it comes to that, I'm just making clear that we have to protect non-union employees. We have to make sure that when they come back on a job, they have a job, and there shouldn't be an excuse of like, since you left about 2-3 months, you can't come back, or the spot's already filled. Employees love to lie. I used to work security, work with non-union security companies on non-union jobs, and I seen like a story, 50 seconds on the clock, that where a guard was on parental leave, was pregnant, and then somebody complained on the job about her being pregnant, and they kicked her off the site because they wanted the person. I'm sitting down, and I'm pregnant, and you standing up. And since I'm pregnant, I sit down. And then the person that was standing up was complaining about me sitting down because I'm pregnant, and they pull out the job site. So I'm telling the city council to protect that, stop that happening. Thank you.
I thank you for your advocacy.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. We got it here. Thank you.
This panel is dismissed. Seeing no one else is here to testify, and no one online is here to testify, this hearing is now adjourned.